Okay, so here are the 7 current eras of film. 1895, the birth of movies and broadcast.
In 1915, we have the birth of the feature and the Supreme Court decision that shaped the industry.
In 1927, the birth of the talkies and the origin of the FCC.
In 1939, we have the golden year of the studio system, the public debut of TV, also known as television, and the start of World War
1948 was the end of the studio system and the rise of national television.
And in 1966, we have the beginning of ratings and the rise of the
conglomerates. In 1977, the origin of the blockbuster fantasy era and the start of the media convergence. And that brings us to our proposed 8th era of film, beginning in 2005. In 2005, YouTube was created. YouTube is a video sharing website headquartered in San Bruno, California. The service was created by 3 former PayPal employees in February 2005. In November 2006, it was bought by Google for $1.65 billion US. And here we go.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that word. Okay. So, streaming. 2005. That's our era. YouTube sparked that. The way YouTube initiated the film's 8th era is simple. It caused movies to move from television to computers. By this we mean it was the forerunner for video streaming. First, YouTube was a site comprised mostly of user-uploaded videos or home videos for fun. Now, however, parts of movies are on YouTube. Movie reviews that tell people what to watch and what not to watch are on YouTube. And even full movies are uploaded to YouTube. Streaming information like this gives people instant access to nearly anything they want. Here you go, buddy.
An article on CNET.com says that in North America, Netflix and YouTube are the main traffic culprits. According to its twice yearly global internet phenomenon report, combined they account to 50.31% of the downstream traffic during the peak part of the day.
So, why go to the movies when just about any movie you could want to see is being streamed online for a far cheaper price, and you can watch it in the comfort of your own home? Well, soon, after YouTube was created, the movie watching experience did change drastically. Now, just to be clear, what truly affected the movie experience is streaming. But, because there isn't really a specific date for streaming's birth, YouTube should be considered the harbinger, the one true Highlander.
Today, YouTube affects more than just film. It changes the way people go about their daily lives. For example, last night I got into bed at around 10 p.m. and stayed up on YouTube until about 2 a.m. Here are a few ways YouTube has changed the way people go about life. Number 1. Instead of getting a book or taking lessons to figure out how to do something, many people watch instructional self-help videos posted on YouTube.
2. There are channels dedicated to many useful skills, from learning guitar, music production, and even exercising and how to diet, and so much more.
Number 3, perhaps pertaining most to this class, however, there is an alarming amount of content on YouTube specifically pertaining to film. There are whole channels dedicated to movie trailers or even specific genres of film, where people go to find out what they want to watch. Also, there are many movie reviews helping viewers decide if they should see the film in theaters or wait till it arrives on Blu-ray/TV. You can imagine how this affects moviegoer turnout.
Also, a lot of careers have been created from YouTube. Justin Bieber was discovered through YouTube by Usher in 2007. And according to Forbes magazine, he made about $80 million in 2014. It only took him 7 years to go from being just a little shrimpy kid on YouTube to a kid with millions of fans, millions of haters, and millions of dollars. Other artists that have achieved fame through YouTube in the music industry are Walk Off the Earth, Christina Grimmie, who was a finalist on NBC's The Voice, Pomplamoose. Now, they do covers of different songs. They write their own songs, and they've been on several tours. And finally, the Gregory Brothers, who, as you well know, they do auto-tune the news, I'm sure.
And it's not just music where people are building entire careers off the streaming site YouTube. For example, Freddie Wong went from making his own videos to making his own TV show, which is now available on Netflix.
In an interview with Yahoo, Ron Howard admitted that fellow director David Fincher gave him some advice that YouTube can be an incredible source of inspiration for much of his work, a habit which Ron has now adopted. This is a quote from the interview with Yahoo and Ron Howard. Ron Howard said, quote, "Because people are sharing and experimenting and delving, and because the cameras have become so good and so much smaller and so much more durable, people are taking cameras to amazing places and capturing images and sharing them. And sometimes it's the way they piece them together. Sometimes it's the music they put with them. Sometimes it's the subject matter." End of quote.
However, with all the benefits of the streaming world, there are lots of cons as well. Piracy is a huge issue and has been for quite some time. But is piracy as bad as people say, or is it beneficial in some way? Now, obviously, piracy is wrong. It's stealing. It is taking something that normally people should pay for by the means of downloading it from peer-to-peer sites and networks. In other words, Joe uploads this new album he bought and posts it online so other people can have it without buying it. That's just not okay. That's stealing. But piracy has actually been beneficial in some cases, and some people actually prefer that you pirate their work, especially in music, as they make more money from playing shows than from album sales. This lets fans save the money for their album and put it towards paying for a ticket to the artist's show, if they decide to go. This also allows artists to make connections with fans and put on a show to give them a reason to come back and support them in the future.
But what about the movie industry? Piracy affects the movie industry differently than it does the music industry, no doubt. But how much money is being lost from piracy in the movie industry? Well, in an article in the Washington Post, Brad Plumer claims I'm happy I don't have that last name, claims that after doing some math, the, quote, industry estimated losses come to just about $446 million per year, end quote. Now, this isn't a ton of money, especially considering all the movies that are made and their budgets, but it's still a good chunk of money that's being lost where it should be being, paid to those involved in the making of these films.
Despite this problem of movie piracy, it has led to some cool innovations, namely Real D 3D technology, which is a new, updated, more clear 3D experience that's hard to duplicate when pirating copies. Peter Nowak writes about this in an article in the New Scientist. He says that while pirating 3D movies is possible, it isn't competing much with the theaters, since consumers don't have a huge demand for 3D televisions in their homes yet. Movie Night, brought to you by 3D Pirates. This may change as time goes on, but for now, movies have the way to ensure more sales to themselves by releasing 3D versions. You're a terrible writer.
Now, look, the internet, it's great.
It's great.
We love it. Streaming is the future, and
The future is now.
That's right. The future is right now, and the future is powerful. And just like when Batman's dad told him, with great power comes great responsibility, and that gave him the courage to blow up the Death Star, and defeat Doomsday, and save all the hobbits in Hogwarts. We too must learn to be responsible in this powerful new era of streaming, because that is what the 8th era is, regardless of what anybody else in this class tells you, Dr. Martin. And you can believe that.
Testify.